So now he's telling the story to these people. And that's a very important question. So then they ask another question. This is kind of a stupid question. They're like, well, where is he now? He's like, I don't know. I didn't see him. I just heard him. I have no clue. I don't know. And so what did they do? Next verse. They took him to the people that you always take people to if there's a miracle. And so what they do is they took the man to the Pharisees, and at this point you have to understand, you'd hear kind of like this ominous music, because here's the deal. The Pharisees were kind of the bad guys. They were the religious leaders. They were all about themselves. So they took the man to the Pharisees. Why? Because there's a miracle that's happened. And that's what you do when there's a potential miracle, because you're waiting for the Messiah, and it's the Pharisees who can evaluate if this miracle is really from the Messiah or if it's really a miracle at all. And so they took the man, hey, we're just going to take you on over here to the Pharisees, right? And they're going to make a determination of what's really going on. Now, this is very important what happens next. So, the day on which Jesus did this miracle, made the mud and healed the man, opened his eyes, was a Sabbath day. Huge deal, because the Sabbath is all about religion. Because these people did not understand that there's a potential that God would have commanded us to keep the Sabbath holy, but that was kind of a baseline. They were into rules and regulations and everything that is to the letter of the law. And so they didn't get the fact that maybe God would do something that had people over rules and regulations, the heart of the law over the real letter of the law. And so they didn't get that. They were into religion, and religion kills. Religion brings death, but relationship and something personal brings life. And so look at what happens now. Next scene. Because now it's the man born blind who's now can see with the Pharisees and probably a huge crowd around him. Because this is a big deal that's going on. Therefore, so as a result of the fact that this was done on the Sabbath, because the Pharisees were all about the Sabbath. Therefore, the Pharisees ask him again, hey, how did you receive your sight? We want to understand. We want to understand because we heard it's Jesus doing it. And you got to understand, when these people ask about the Sabbath, they're asking because this doesn't fit into their mold. This doesn't fit into their worldview. This doesn't fit into the way they've always seen God. And you have to understand, that's a big deal for the Pharisees because they have their rigid way to see God. And so how did you receive your sight? And so he tells the story very simply again. That's Jesus, he made some mud and put it on my eyes, and I washed, and now I see. Second time he's told them this, okay? And so now they're getting a little bit riled up because they're like, oh my gosh, this doesn't fit into what we understand and do. And so some of the Pharisees, they started to say this. Some of the Pharisees said, this man, talking about Jesus, is not from God because he doesn't keep the Sabbath. But others of them, this is very important, they're divided. Others of them said, hey, could a sinner perform these kinds of signs? And so the Pharisees are divided between the two groups, because with the Pharisees, they don't get the fact that God could do something bigger than them. And at this point, this dialogue gets crazier and crazier. But